Coming up on this episode of Courage Over Comfort by Matt Logan Speaks.
Of course, I want to be able to have the opportunity to have conversations with people about what I believe, but I also want to hear what they believe. But what's important to me is that focus, and we need to believe something. Right. Because if we don't believe something, that we will live in complete chaos, and we won't have a goal, and then it all depends on us, and we, because of what I believe, we cannot do that. It's not sustainable if we don't have that anchor, if we don't have that place to look and stay focused on. Hey, we've got another amazing guest today. He's a very powerful man. He was just bragging to me off camera about yoga skills that he's developing and things like that. But please help me welcome the amazing and incredible Joel Starks.
Sounds like you should come up with some kind of circus name. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought that was a circus name.
Oh, it is.
Is that your real name?
That is my real name.
Nice.
I don't know if you can believe it or not. It is.
Thanks for having the courage to invite me into your pad.
This is your pad, man.
This is good stuff.
Yeah. You know, it is.
We are in strange times, as we were talking about earlier.
We're 5 feet apart, right? It's 5'6".
Yeah, I have a reach of 2 or 3 inches there, and
I
got your
hand sanitizer.
Yeah, great.
Just in case you wanted to get frisky with me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for washing my back this morning too.
No problem. No. Your loofah. You like the loofah.
Right. You were just on a phone call, and I got a kick out of it because you were like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. When we get together, we just talk, and that's what it's about, right? Really helping people understand that even in tough times and weird times and difficult times, it's life. We can still have conversation, have fun, and have physical distance, not social distance.
Physical distance. That's a great way to put it.
I've been preaching that for the last month.
Yeah.
More.
Well, the problem is that everybody
preaching is strong, but
well, I don't know, man. Not for you. Everybody equates social distance and a physical distance, right? But the reason they put the social label on it is because people don't understand that's the soft way of putting it. It's a soft way of saying, don't stand by each other. Don't give each other the coronavirus. Hello, people.
Right. But what social does, what the definition of social in itself is what? It's interaction with people, not just physical.
Right. That's my point. But why tell them that?
Well, because I think that what it's doing, and I've seen it already, it is social distancing people. Like,
it's driving a wedge between people.
Totally. You can't look at anybody at the gas station anymore.
How about walking down the street? I walk, and we were talking beforehand, before you went 3, 2.
Yeah.
And I've started a new lifestyle.
Yeah.
And losing weight and just being healthy, being happy as hell, right?
Yeah.
And I walk, and people got their head down. They're not even saying hi. Right. I make it a point to walk at them, at least to get them to look up.
Yeah.
So that they're not going to run into me, so I can say good morning.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Good evening. What are you so afraid of that I'm going to spit on you as you walk by?
Right.
And so it's really frustrating for me.
It is for me too, because I'm a hugger.
Oh, yeah. I live for the hug.
Yeah, and so I guess to me that it feels so weird that I understand that it's not appropriate right now. Certainly until they get this figured out on the science end of it, but what it's doing mentally and emotionally to people is what's really frustrating for me. Mm-hmm. It is like you say, driving that wedge. I mean, it is driving a wedge.
It's at least for the time being, and I got to give a shout out to Governor Walz. Okay,
sure.
I mean, let me just, and I am not way left at all. I am your, right conservative when it comes to finances and financial, but I'm way left when it comes to living your life the way you want to live it, right?
Sure.
But Governor Walz has done nothing but a great job at at educating people, at stating fact, working from science, and over communicating.
He's a good communicator.
He's a wonderful communicator, and I think what he has done is set a new bar on how a leader should lead. And I'm in no way, saying, you better run for president, Mr. Walz. But at the end of the day, that kind of communication, that kind of transparency, that kind of, just the Minnesotan in his blood, the way he talks, makes you feel like you're comfortable with what he's telling you.
Sure.
Even though we don't always agree, hey, you know what? Let's take the steps we need to take. Let's be able to test. Let's be able to trace. Let's be able to quarantine. And I don't even want to use that word anymore. Isolate. At least for a short period of time to let this thing pass.
It's not going to pass, though.
Well, when I say pass, I say if you get it and you go into quarantine for 14 days, hypothetically, you can't get it again, right? And you won't be able to pass it on after that 14 days. That's my part of isolation. And passing it, let's get past this. We're all going to get it. I really believe that.
I do too.
And I might have already had it.
Yeah.
You might have already had it.
Right.
So, and until you test everyone, which I think that's where we're going to get. I think everyone will go in and get tested.
Do you think that's okay?
I think it's great. Not anyone forcing me to do it.
Sure.
Just basically saying the test is available to me.
Yeah, and I think that's really key. Forcing you to do it for me is like, hypothetically, they send this out. I travel a lot, and they send this out, and because there's talk of travel passports, health travel passports already.
And I travel a lot as well. Yeah.
Right, and so they're coming to me and they're saying, okay, for you to travel, Mr. Logan, you need to do X, Y, Z, or we're not going to let you travel. Now all of a sudden I'm living in what country? And hear me out on that.
Yeah.
Now if they say, here's the science, here's what we know, we would really like it if people would go get tested and make sure, and we're going to trust each other, government and people, we're going to trust each other to do the right thing, I think is so important.
It's
and I'll do more
important.
things. I'll do more things based off of trust than I will based off of forced, because what I'll look at when I'm forced to do it, and that's what I teach in schools too. Right. I've never asked anybody if they text and drive, not one dang time, right. Because that doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you've done it or not, but I'll show you my why, and then you get to decide.
Right.
I'm going to trust you to decide. And so you show me the why, you have that compassion, we have freedoms. I think that I'll probably jump on board with something in that case. But you show up at my door with a letter saying, right. I'm gonna push back a little bit.
So I think
it's human nature.
Yeah, so we could go down past, and I think that's the fun part of this whole experiment that you and I are going through right now, which is having a discussion, is we could go down all past. This could be the way to DNA every human. For sure.
Yes.
So take a step back.
Yes.
How do we know what's in that test?
No, exactly.
Is there a DNA?
And that wasn't even my point.
I mean, exactly. But that's where, when you get to the point of a travel requirement, which could be a pre-test or whatever, that's a DNA. That's a sample. That you could have a sample of almost everyone in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay? And what does that do? It creates a database. And that database can then what? Be hacked. Then can be used for riches, whatever, right? So that's the conspiracy thing. Right?
I didn't even mean conspiracy. I
believe there are people out there that are going to run down different paths because it's fun. Whatever, right?
That's true.
Right.
I have had some wild conversations.
Yeah. So the way I see your conversation there is, give me choice, trust me to make the right decision.
Yeah.
And I am more likely to make more decisions.
Yes.
Based on what you're asking.
Yes.
If you give me choice.
Yes.
That's just human respect, right? It's not politicians. It's not all this other crap.
Right.
But when we look at the scenarios of what the future looks like, and that macchiato got done quick.
Oh yeah, pounded it down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have a couple of espressos in that, so you should be moving your seat here shortly.
I'll be good for
What
when
did you say about tests?
Exactly. Squirrel.
I get that all the time. You look at what the future holds, and I think if we as responsible citizens can look at how we reopen things. Let's just use restaurants as an example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think that makes a lot of sense because everybody goes to restaurants.
Exactly.
Literally everybody.
That's the first start, I would say. How do you do it right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you make for a living. It doesn't matter where you work. Everybody goes to restaurants of some fashion.
All the time.
All the time.
I mean, and it really shows you how much the economy is weighed on those things.
For sure.
So now think about this. If you were to be required, and again, what I'm stating is just hypothetical, where I believe we could go, right? You come to the restaurant, and you have already, before you got there, you have already either perused the menu or pre-ordered your food, and you've had basically a reservation, and you come in at a certain time, and there's certain times for eating, right? Mm-hmm. And because there's only so much seating, based on physical distancing, not social distancing, right? Based on also meeting a requirement when you come to the door. Are you healthy? And probably a thermometer that hits the forehead just to show if there's a fever on that person, right? Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then let me into the facility. The people serving food and the people, bringing, whatever, can be masked. It's protecting them, okay? Protecting the worker. We're assuming that we're all safe, right? We're good. Go in, we seat. That table's there, we're here, right? That table's there, we're, this and that. And that's how I believe it could go, and we could still live. We could still go to those places.
Yeah, and that's surgical. Like that's a surgical, and that's okay. I'm not saying that's bad.
I think that's the way it has to start.
For sure. The place that gets. And by the way, I didn't know that you were kind of to the left. I mean, we've had many conversations. And
I'm an actor, dude.
I'm not. No, that's not. No, not at all. The point being is that it doesn't matter, right? I think that we can all, and that's really what's driving me nuts and making me pretty ticked off. Is on both sides of the aisle, they're like, you're an a-hole and you're an a-hole because you're thinking this way and you're thinking this way, and they start fighting instead of having conversations like this, right? And that's what's so important to me. So left, right, conservative, progressive,
I'm glad you brought
whatever.
that up because it's to me it's not a position.
But the whole point is it doesn't matter. It's never mattered to me that you're that way, and it doesn't matter to you that I'm my way.
Why does it interest? Why is it now interesting though?
What's interesting to me is you're seeing that divide even more great, right? There's no give and take at all.
But back to your point, your question, your comment was though that you find it interesting that you found me different than what you expected.
No, I didn't expect anything. That was the point, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I didn't know it because it didn't matter to me.
Right.
Because we can be friends, and we've been here smoking cigars, and that's the whole point. Is that we can do those things.
Right.
I am, and I don't really talk about this much. I am more to the right of things, more conservative, more liberty. I would say with you have to understand that like progressive or left or whatever, really the way it started and the way it was back in really probably post World War II is really where that big divide was. Because let's be honest, Democrats pre-World War II and post-World War II are very different. And that's okay. That's not bad. But that progressive or left thinking, generally speaking, is what they're more higher education. They're more, 60s is a prime example. What ramped up after post-World War II ramped up to the 60s and stuff and that free spirit and free thinking and all those things. That's kind of that thought process. And that's okay.
Right.
That's great. That's not bad.
Right.
I agree with those things. Like, let me think.
Right.
Help me to think. Show me why I should think on my own.
Right.
But don't tell me how to think.
Right.
And that's where it gets so difficult for me when if you're gonna, we have good conversations because you don't tell me how I should think. I mean, we hit some pretty hard stuff off camera,
Yeah.
and we were great with each other with it. And I think that we completely understood each other's perspective,
I think it's respect.
and that's the point.
It's
Exactly.
respect.
You're a person.
Yeah. Just give mutual respect.
We talked about the event on March 5th that you weren't able to come to, and I
Oh, thanks for rubbing that in.
I wasn't rubbing it in.
Yeah, you were.
No, I wasn't. I could,
Yeah, you could.
but
My excuse is worthless. So,
it doesn't matter. See,
No.
It doesn't matter.
but at the end of the day, I felt guilt.
But
that I
I
missed
didn't
it.
make you feel that.
No, not you, me. And that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
That's a good feeling when you felt guilt that you missed someone's event. And I apologize.
No, that's not.
But no, I
Thank you,
It makes
but
me feel
that's-
better to say it.
Sure.
Because I do support you.
Yeah.
I support your work. I support your mission, right?
Thank you.
And if I can be part of your mission in some way, shape, or form, either support, right, or part, right, I want that. And so it's having an honest dialogue about that.
Yeah.
And like you said, you look at politics. This is where I know this is the tangents that we get to go on, and we're both ADD and we're both freaking
Totally.
We're both like squirrel. My wife says it all the time. Like, she'll be talking to me and I'll be looking down at something and she'll be talking and then all of a sudden I'll be like, "Hey Gunnar, what about this?" And she's like, "Did you not what?" But I thought it interesting what you said about how the Democrats are different back then to now. You think about the Great Depression, and we're in one, okay? And it's only going to get worse right now. But you think about what the Democratic Party used to be. It was farm labor. It was
Exactly.
It was farm labor.
Exactly.
It was the guys that were out pitching in Iowa and Minnesota
Yes.
and the Dakotas and the Midwest, and basically saying, "Hey, farmers, we're behind you. We want to help you.
Yes.
We want to lobby for you." And that's a party for us.
Yes.
And we need to be that kind of party. Now, I'm not a historian, so people, if you want to,
fact check it
Twitter,
and all
Twitter
those,
me and
yeah,
all that crap, whatever,
right.
Go for it. But I believe that's part of what it was.
It totally is. Absolutely.
And that's not like that today.
No.
Now it's, you're this side and you're way left or you're not.
Yep.
And then you're Republican, you stick to the party line.
Yep.
And you don't slide.
It's both. It's for both parties.
So sad because come on. I mean, I've been a proponent of getting rid of parties for so long.
And I don't think that's really possible. I've thought about that a lot, and I've had many conversations with people off camera. But I don't think that's possible for a lot of reasons. But one of the big reasons is because we do have. So if you do those things, what happens to me is you have New York. You've been there, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about
several times.
Yeah, and so you have New York as an example, and no offense to New York, it's a great city. I love it there. It's really cool. But there's millions and millions of people in this one area that think and live very similar lives. You get out where we're at, and it's not the same. So if you get rid of parties, you're going to have all these different weird individual areas that will get nothing done at all, right? I mean, think about that. Or New York's because there's millions of people there in LA and these other things. You've got that kind of mindset, which I'm not saying is bad. I'm just saying it's different. And then all of a sudden for us little rural people in comparison to them, now we have to abide by the way they think, right? And their policies. That's where, to me, it's pretty slippery. I mean, that's a super slippery slope.
That's interesting. That's interesting because
that's why the Electoral College is really valuable, because there's a lot of people, you know, in this upper Midwest and lower Midwest and all these other things that really, the farmers, I mean, without the farmers, we would be completely done in the world economy.
Yeah. It's crazy to think. I would love to go back in time. Not to stay there, but I mean, there's certain eras I'd love.
I just watched the DeLorean, the guy on the thing on
Back
John
to the
DeLorean.
Future?
No, there was a documentary type thing on is it John DeLorean? Was his name John? Okay. I think is his first name. Fact check me on that again, people. But it's very interesting.
The time travel thing?
No, his car thing. Like the guy who made the DeLorean.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned time travel.
Yeah.
So DeLorean, squirrel.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, you're taking
blows up.
I did say Back to the Future, so we.
Yeah. So
we are.
So
but if you could travel back, I would like to travel back to what I dream of when I see Laura Ingalls Wilder. Right?
Sure.
And Little House on the Prairie, and just to watch, you know.
Like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of just to pop in and be like, hey, you need to work up the field. You know what I mean? Or whatever, you know? But you think about it, it would be a day's ride from Sleepy Eye to you know, wherever you were going, to Mankato or whatever.
Right.
You think about all the things that had to happen to make sure your family was safe, just to go a short distance to get things that you couldn't grow in your own yard, right, in your own farm, in your own, and if they didn't become self-sufficient, they wouldn't make it on the prairie, right? I mean, they had to figure a way.
Yeah.
Then let's fast forward that a little bit, and this is how I always kind of think about when you just said about New York and that kind of thing. Fast forward to the Roaring '20s and the mobs and all that kind of stuff, and the mafia and you know, the booze runners in the South, and the, you know what I mean, and prohibition, and just to take snapshots and be just like what the difference was, right? One is we've got to sustain, and we've got to self sustain, and the other one is we've got to control everything. Think about where we're at. You know what I mean? Where we're at now. Like when they were prohibition, there was a reason they did that, because they wanted control. Because they wanted to tax it.
Yeah.
They wanted to get control over something that they knew was addictive. That just like cigarettes. You know, what are cigarettes right now, or chew, or any of that kind of stuff? It's like $10 a pack.
Sure.
How much of that is tax? 90%.
Enormous. But then you go down the path of the reason it's taxed so high is why?
Because they don't want you to do it.
No, because all the health problems that came out about all of it, and the taxpayers had to pay for the people.
There's both sides to that. You know, I mean,
well, that's a huge percentage
to do
of
what you
it.
Want,
for sure.
And if you want to put that tar in your mouth and
for
all
sure
the chemicals, you know, where a difference at a cigar club, you know, a cigar is tobacco, and tobacco.
Yes.
It's nothing. There's no additives to that, right?
Right.
That's a whole different discussion. But,
no, it is, but that's the whole thing. Okay, marijuana. I mean, that's becoming legal throughout a lot of the states now, and I don't have any experience with it. Good, bad, or in between that's not my point, but I don't, so I don't get it. And same with smoking, I don't get it, and that's okay. I don't need to. Right. But to me is like at least decriminalize it. And so
why not?
So there's some of those things.
It?
Yeah. So and then tax it in things. I'm okay with taxes, but it also, the tax money we need to balance the budget, make good decisions with that money, things like that. Yeah. So it's a path that we could go way down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, it is a deep rabbit hole, and it's
super deep.
That's something that, again, political or not, come on. I mean, if you want to put something in your body, do it. Whatever. Just don't make it illegal if they're going to try to do it anyway and they're going to get it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're getting it, when I say they, people that enjoy using herb, okay? And a whole different discussion, but at the end of the day, anyone that's doing a natural remedy for pain or depression or whatever, which is really what marijuana is. Cannabis is an herb. It's of the earth. It's the most natural you're going to get. The peace pipe was there for a reason. Okay, it solved a lot of problems in the world. I don't partake. Have I? Sure, you bet. But didn't really do anything for me. But I think, again, another thing that you should let people make that decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Be responsible. You still, if you're under the influence, you're going to get arrested. You're still, I mean, what's different? Everybody calls it a slippery slope. It's the thing that pisses me off. And I love you to my wife. She talks slippery slopes a lot, and it just. Okay. But gateway drugs and blah
sure.
blah 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 blah. You have a choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice to fall down. I was telling you before we went on, before off camera, I made a choice to stop drinking.
Yeah.
And I wanted to live a healthy lifestyle. I wanted to be happy. And I believe that I wanted to lose weight. I've lost 35 pounds. I wanted to eat healthy. I wanted to find reason in every day, and so once you start doing those healthy things, you start to really smell things again, touch things again, really understand some 3D feelings, right, that you just maybe didn't have before. And I think when we look at everything that's going on in the world, I couldn't have decided to do this at a better time.
Yeah.
With less distractions.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to be traveling somewhere. I don't have to be going on my business trips. I don't have to go, literally, the problem I have right now is I get really depressed having to stay home, right? Because I already work from home. So I work from home. I'm at my desk at 8 a.m., 7:30, 8 a.m., until about 5:30, 6 o'clock as a banker. And then I used to be able to then, run to the club, or let's go do something, or, go out to eat, or, something social.
Right. You're very social.
Very. I'm definitely I'm a puppy. And I got to be touched. I got to be loved. I got to be, I got to lick something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, I got to stay in my house.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean I'd stay in my house. I get in.
No,
and go
right.
For a walk
walks and
that.
For sure.
But there's no social interaction with others. And so that makes it really difficult. But it's been really great for me during this time of transition.
Yeah.
That I don't have any distractions. I literally have just focused on me. And I brought this today. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Jesus Calling.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I thought, how we never have anything to talk about. And we don't have a subject, right? And every day since I started this journey, I read this. Right?
Yeah.
But I read it aloud.
Yeah.
And I just want to share this with you.
Absolutely. Please.
So make me your focal point. This is for today, okay?
Yeah.
April 25th. As you move through this day, just as a spinning ballerina must keep returning her eyes to a given point to maintain her balance, so you must keep returning your focus to me. Circumstances are in flux, and the world seems to be whirling around you. The only way to keep your balance is to fix your eyes on me. The one who never changes. If you gaze too long at your circumstances, you will become dizzy and confused. Look to me, refreshing yourself in my presence, and your steps will be steady and sure.
Yeah.
It's today.
Yeah.
What's the chance that today is we put focus,
Yeah.
right? We bring into focus.
Yeah.
And this is not a church thing. It's not I believe religion is in my heart and Christianity is in my heart. Like I told you before, I've been in search of a church.
Yeah, and I've explained too to people that it's of course I want to be able to have the opportunity to have conversations with people about what I believe, but I also want to hear what they believe. But what's important to me is that focus, and we need to believe something.
Right.
Because if we don't believe something, that we will live in complete chaos and we won't have a goal, and then it all depends on us, and we because of what I believe, we cannot do that. It's not sustainable if we don't have that anchor, if we don't have that place to look and stay focused on.
And now, a quick break. And it's not a Kit Kat, sorry. And now, back to the episode.
It is the thing that should center us on a daily basis.
Yes.
And find that focus. And I it's not just focus, it's in focus.
Yeah.
Really coming in focus with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm a true believer in. The reason I was looking for a church is I was looking for the social Christianity of God, and to be among the same focus people, like people that are in focus. They're in focus. They understand that they still live. They still have things going on. Mm-hmm. We all are sinners. We all make mistakes. We all do stupid things. But I
stop talking about me and pointing out my sins.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Well, you know what? But the Echo Church
confessing my sins for me. Thank you.
Has done something to me.
Yeah.
Now I haven't been able to worship together, other than a virtual lobby after in a Zoom. So I don't even know these people. They don't even know me, right? And I sit in this Zoom lobby, right?
Yeah.
And all I see is my fat face on this Zoom, right? And I'm like,
gosh.
They don't even know me.
Yeah.
And I'm just quiet. And it's like not me. Like that's their first impression of me, is this quiet, no Zoomer, right? This guy that's not even talking in Zoom. And I'm worried about that, dude. I'm really worried about that, because their first impression of me as part of their church that I've been, now for the last 4 weeks or ish, being part of their online community, if you will, their first impression is that I'm a quiet guy. That it's just this round face is sitting there and just kind of smiling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so weird, because that's not me.
No, it's not.
And I've always believed, this is not, I don't know how to say this. So this is not selfish, right? But I've always believed I'm a magnet.
Sure.
I'm a magnet for good people. And I flip my magnet and make other people good.
Sure.
Right? So I push it out too. I don't push them away, but I give them energy to let them take that to the next, right? Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. I feel almost like an introvert on Zoom. Isn't that weird?
That is
right?
weird.
Like, what are the chances Joel Starks is an introvert?
Right.
On any level. But Zoom, I'm almost scared.
Huh.
I have anxiety.
Yeah.
And I Zoom for work. But that's work. But to be in a worshipful situation,
sure,
with like-minded individuals, I guess I'm not able to be me, and I wonder if I'll really be able to break through when we do get to the point of where we can be brother and sister and husband, wife, and son and daughter.
Yeah.
In a worshipful sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good perspective. I like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, you're a small business owner. Tell us about your business.
You know what? It's
Do you want to?
Not really.
Okay.
It's not.
Let me ask you. Let me go at a different angle then. So, being a small business owner, what do you think? How do you? Well, there's a lot of ways to ask the question. One is do you think that if the shutdown goes much longer, you'll be okay?
Wow. Okay. So let's first start as a small business owner. I'm in a different category, right? It's just a club.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a social group.
Yep.
With a location. It's not a business. I mean, it's not. At the end of the day.
Well, you have to survive as a business.
You gotta pay.
I mean, you made me
bills.
bring my own lights in and battery operated
Well,
and all
turned my
that
lights
to get
off,
the.
so-
I thought your electricity was shut off.
No,
but it's not that.
No, you
no.
shut them off. So you ruined my ambiance
Right.
with these big white LEDs.
Exactly.
But so to answer your question about what's going on in the world and how it will affect my club, right, which is the Corona Club, which is a cigar and social club, right, place where members and guests from out of town can come and enjoy and share a space to work, to socialize, and to enjoy a cigar or a pipe inside in Rochester, which is the only place you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not open to the public. Guests can come in and get day passes and check it out and become a member. Right. That's what the Corona Club is. I will say that day passes and guests and that kind of stuff were really picking up over the last 6 months prior to everything that's happened with the pandemic. Because people are coming from out of town and they're looking for a great place to relax. And in the winter, I know, that Mayo is here and health and is key, and people might not look keenly on cigar smoking and smoking in general and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, it's great. Choice you make not to be part of that, right? However, there are a lot of people that come to Mayo that enjoy a cigar. Okay? And let's let that be known. So you can't lie, you can't fight it. That'd be like saying the people that come to Mayo that are being medically medicated by marijuana, Mayo's going to say, no, you can't.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
So, yes, this has definitely hurt some traffic. And
What do you think the long-term effect of that?
My core is local Rochester people.
Sure.
So, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, we can sustain. It's not it's really a member-driven deal, right? So, and members are not leaving because of anything going on.
Yeah.
Right. It's still a space that they need and they want. So that doesn't bother me. I think what I think this will eventually, though, because when we come out of the other end of this, and like you said, it's not that it'll ever pass or whatever, but when things
we have to
become
navigate
smarter,
it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just like hunker down and stop COVID. We're not stopping COVID.
You're not going to stop COVID.
It's not stop. I mean, we can't.
You can't.
We can navigate it.
Exactly, and that's my point when I say coming out of the tunnel or whatever, is when we actually get smart how to handle things. Like I disinfect this place.
Yeah.
Before people come in, I typically spray down everything. But also the members, that's their job. I have members that were smart about how to take care of their own space. That bring their own wipes, that bring their own disinfectant, that wipe down the area that they were at before and after and when they leave. That's ahead of the curve here, right? So when we come out of this, I actually think we'll get more members out of this because they're going to need a place
Yeah.
eventually to be around socially smart individuals that are physically distanced. You know, I mean, that's the beauty of this club is most of my seating is socially or physically distanced, right? Because we don't sit and touch each other while we smoke a cigar.
Right.
I mean, it might be, it might be nice every once in a while, or, whatever. But the point being is that that's kind of what a cigar is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sharing a conversation
Yeah.
with like-minded individuals,
Yeah.
men or women.
Yeah.
And we have both
Yeah.
that enjoy that. So
Yeah.
long-winded answer to your question.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I did want to ask you this morning, I was thinking about it. You're a big sports guy too. What do you, there's talk about, I think, was it Tokyo who opened up?
Yeah, with nobody in the stands.
With nobody in the stands?
So I got two sides to that. Number one is ratings would be through the roof. And I watch football games from home more than I watch at a stadium.
Yeah.
Baseball, I watch, 160 games from my TV or my radio today already. What's two more? I think it's the energy that's going to be lost.
Oh, yes.
It's the
For sure.
it's the crowd noise. It's the the crack of the bat and the whoo,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff that you're not going to have. They're going to have to pipe that in or something.
Yeah.
To give the excitement, because part of listening, if you close your eyes and listen to the crack of the bat and you hear the crowd in the background, right? You hear people,
Yeah.
or boom, 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 boom,
Right.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you can have that, but the walk-up song is going to have to be in 2 minutes while these guys are at bat, and just baseball and football. Those are just two that I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, those sports will suffer financially.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the owners of those organizations that have empty stadiums, that concessions, and the building. That's where it's apocalyptic.
Yeah.
That's where I believe that some of those teams with Mike Trout with the $400 million guaranteed salary. I mean, if I was baseball players, I get playing, right? But is this the year to take nothing to play, right? To play like kids again. And I know this is kind of going on a tangent, but is this the year that baseball, and I'm just using baseball, that baseball takes a step back and says, you know what, we can't put the fans in the stands. Let's show them a real baseball game.
So you actually really think that they can't do that this year?
I don't think you can. I don't
Sure.
think if you want to be really responsible.
Let's say if 40,000 seats, you sell 10,000.
I think, well, okay, how could they do it? And versus should they do it? And versus could they do it? How would they do it? If you're with a family of four, you sit together. But you're 4 seats apart from the next fans, right? You have lines that are 6 feet apart. You know what I mean?
So So
Right.
let's say like from row 1 or whatever all the way up to row 50, or so you're like every other at that point.
I think what you're basically talking at as you go up, it would be empty row, and then you'd have staggered seating.
Staggered, yeah, sure,
And then
okay.
you would do it again.
Yep.
And you
I just
have
want
to
to
do that.
see if I'm picturing.
Yep,
what
you
you're
are
saying.
virtually correct. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
And that's a smart way to open those stadiums up eventually. Then you have to think of concessions, right? Then you have to think of those workers. Then you have to think of parking and how they get to where they're going, right? All these different things have to be thought. And then does the American people, how bad do they want to go through that to go see a game? And I think that's where you're going to be surprised that people are not going to spend a lot of money to go do that. And maybe I'm wrong.
And now, a quick break from the podcast, because listening sometimes just gets draining. Just like water drains down a sink. Okay. And now, back to the episode.
People might go spend more money just because they've been shut in.
I think that's probably more going to be the case.
But they're not going to spend what they used to.
No, for sure.
And or you're going to see a lot more of the suites being filled with, families or groups that have been
together, essentially. Sure.
That have been checked out ahead of time. And I mean, that would be a way to watch some sports. I don't know. I just think it's such a tough deal when it's like I have to, I'm on a board for a bunch of CEOs in the US called ACAM CEO. And we have a conference in July down in Nashville, and we've decided to go with it. We did not cancel it, postpone it. First off, the cost to postpone or cancel a conference. These hotels are not accommodating. They're not going to lose that revenue. I mean, you're on the hook for a percentage, and even in the contract, act of God does not count, right? I mean, they're just smart, right? So we chose to do it. Well, that means July 12th, no matter what.
But now you can choose whether or not you go.
However, I'm on the board. I need to be there to make that conference go. We've chosen to make the conference go.
Sure.
We know that there's going to be some attrition. We've counted basically 30% attrition this year because of the travel. But so here goes the thought is that means I need to be on a plane flying to Nashville in July. How do I feel about that? I'm all for it. I want to be the first to say let's get going again. Because if we don't, it's going to get a lot worse. And so I'll be on that plane. I'll be responsible. I'll have my hand wipes. I'll be smart. I hope the people sitting next to me are. I think planes will have the same issue. I think planes will do staggered seating. No one will sit two to a seat for a while. And they'll have to deal with that. And they'll probably get help from the government, But I think that's where you and I are going to travel in the future is you're going to see. I love that, by the way, being a big boy. I hate sitting next to somebody, or I don't ever sit in the middle, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's part of it's
navigation.
It's travel again. Yeah, navigation.
I think that to me is what's so key. We have to understand we need to navigate, and it's not going to be a one size fits all.
Well, we can't get in the wagon and go to Sleepy Eye. You know what I mean? And just the two of us.
Right.
We literally have to get back into the treadmill of life.
Even with that, they were an interdependent people way back then, right? And everybody screams independence and independence and independence. Well, yeah, I get that. You need to be healthy independent, but you also have to understand that we need each other to survive. You can't be completely independent. Right. And we could talk about that in the simplest of terms, but I think you understand what I mean. And so that means that we have to say, okay, how can we navigate this, Joel? How can we figure out that we can't sit in the house and walk down the street and that's all we ever do? That's not sustainable. And so the electricity is going to run out. All of these things, we're not going to have food. Well, is it up to the farmers to do all the work then? Or is it, so we have to navigate. I think that
you're right on.
I think that throwing a blanket over the fire is great to begin with, but then you have to take the blanket off and kind of clean it up and get moving.
Well, so I think about what the 18 and 19-year-olds are dealing with right now.
Yeah. Right?
Because I have one at home. My son turns 19 in June here, a couple months. And I think about what he's dealing with. And I've had to really take a step back because he is an adult. And I need to let him make decisions. However, so when this whole state shutdown happened, He's a very social kid as well, right? Young man. And so he's chose to become our roommate. I don't want to call him, he's my son living at home. Is a roommate, basically. And I've had to basically tell him that he can't go do things, right? And explain to him why he can't go hang out with his buddies or his friends, because he doesn't get it, that there's a reason that we're being told to stay at home, right? He still thinks, well, they're not sick. Why can't I just go hang with them? We won't sit next to each other. Can't we just go hang? Can't we just go sit in different cars, right? And it's one of those things, I totally get it. I can't imagine to be an 18, 19-year-old, right? Home from college because your college is now online and you can't be anywhere with any of your friends. You're home. I mean, and then your dad says, sorry, you have to go to the basement and just sit there. You know, I mean, the last thing I ever wanted to do was sit in the basement anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I mean about the navigation. We have to understand that, and the navigation has to kind of come pretty fast here. This has been a long episode of Fear Factor.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think it's not only does it have to be fast, but it has to be educated.
For sure, absolutely. Education is huge.
Yeah.
So I had a live event, another one that was going to happen in May.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's now illegal. And so that's not happening. So I was going to reveal my acronym and part of the strategy of Matt Logan Speaks and lifting people up. And I'm going to say, Joel, you are shiny.
I like it.
And thank you for being shiny. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for being hope. Thank you for being influential. Thank you for being necessary. Thank you for being you.
Thanks, Matt.
And dude, we'll see you again soon.
All right.